First generation Toyota Rav4 1996 to 2000 replaced the 100 amp Fusible Link for the alternator circuit. If your alternator fails while you're driving your Rav4, you'll likely blow your 100 amp Fusible Link. You'll know this when you shut the vehicle off, especially if you have an automatic and you restart it and it won't let you get out of park. To get out of park, you'd have to manually override it. Also, when you look at your instrument cluster, like where your speedometer is and whatnot, there's nothing there. It won't be lit up. There won't be any icons. Nothing will be there. Your climate control won't work. There's a number of things on that 100 amp circuit that the alternator is on, so when the alternator goes out, it takes out a lot with it. Also, if you're driving around in an automatic and you are driving around with your 100 amp blown, it will very likely prevent you from getting into reverse. Even with the shift override, you might put it in reverse, but it won't move. This is how you can fix it. Very easy fix. Anybody can do it. This is the fuse you'll want to buy to replace your 100 amp. This is called a fusible link, or just a big fuse. It's bolted in place, which makes it a little bit different. But before you buy one, let's check to make sure that it is actually blown. To do that, you're going to look in this little fuse box here. On the opposite side, there's a part where you can just press in. And when you press that in, it comes up, and then this whole thing comes off. If you look on the back, there is a map. And the map says heater 50 amp, alternator 100 amp, and main 80 amp. The alternator is this middle one, 100 amp right here. This likely blew if your alternator went out, or if your alternator's been going out, or if you lost the belt, or maybe if you accidentally jumped your battery backwards. Those are reasons why that might go out. When you're looking at the map, you notice that there's a little space here. That's referring to this space there, okay? So this goes like that. The map goes like this. Red is heater, blue is alternator, black is main. It doesn't go like this. Now let's check to see if this fuse is blown. There we can see the fuses, and that 100 amp in the middle is blown. Do you see how it is not even connected? But if you compare it to that 80 amp, the 80 amp, it's not blown. But you can see very clearly that that 100 amp has got to go. Now we'll disconnect the battery. It's necessary to disconnect both sides of the battery because we need this side off, and we always want to disconnect the negative first, so got to disconnect the negative no matter what. If you have your Toyota original terminals, these will be 10 millimeter. Just loosen that up and then just kind of bring it up. So quick note, when you're working around the battery with metal tools, don't accidentally bridge each terminal, because you'll create a short and you'll burn your hand really badly. Now we'll remove the positive. Same deal, if you have your original Toyota terminals, you can just get on there with this 10 millimeter and just loosen it like that. And same deal, just kind of wiggle it up. Now I'm going to put this little cap on here just to make it safer for me, since I'm filming and I might get distracted. This way, if I get a tool across these, I won't have a short. Alright, these fuses are not like normal fuses. You can't just grab them and pull them out. They're actually bolted in place, and there's a bolt going on this side and a bolt on this side, and there's a bolt for each one of them. So there's 6 total bolts. And in order to get to this, the bolts behind here, we need to remove the terminal end. If you have your factory Toyota terminal, there's a stud coming up through here, and there's this nut. This will be a 12 millimeter. And these can be pretty tight. If yours is very corroded, then you should probably consider replacing it, especially since you have to remove it to do this repair. You can get these for a couple bucks at the store. You don't have to get a Toyota one. Just get any terminal that will fit through here, like a marine terminal or anything like that. This just pulls out like this, and then once you have this out, this cable moves back. And now we can open up this panel to get to the one bolt, and then the panel back here to get to the other bolt. Now we're going to get in here and we're going to pry this little box open. This side over here is the hinge side, and this side's the clasp. So I'm going to get under this with a pick, and that just flies open like that. That one there is an 8 millimeter, so let's go ahead and remove that. You can see there's a line on there. If you have a earlier Rav4, these will just be red. Make a little line that way you can have it torqued on the same way it was before you removed it, because you'll just line up those lines. So these aren't too tight. Once you get them started, they come right off. So completely remove this little 8mm. And now on the other side, we're going to flip open the panel here and lift this up and do the same on the other side. And then that'll fold up. So you see another one of those bolts. This side, the bolts are 10mm. And make a line on these as well if yours don't already have a line on them. And pop this bolt out. Now that cable comes off like that, and that's good. So we can get the fuse out now. The fuse, sometimes you can just grab it and pull it up, but a lot of times it won't really go that easily, and you might pull on it and the little plastic thing will come off on the top, or something like that will happen. What you can do is take your pick again, and you see how there's that little part there where the fuse is coming down. You just get under it and push it up. See how that went? This fuse is nice and loose because I put it in and took it out for just this purpose to show this video. You're going to probably have to push yours a little bit more to get it out, especially it's probably been in there for 20 years or whatever. And then you pull this fuse out. I'm going to take the top off this so you can have a closer look. There you can see it's open. It's totally blown right there. And bad fuse. We can grab our good fuse. Let's like that. Looks nice. It's all connected. You can put it in either way. It doesn't matter. You put this in, push it down. It's all flush. And now we're going to just reverse these steps. So we'll start with the 10mm on this side. The only thing that I've noticed on a couple of these pulling parts at the junkyard and whatnot, I have noticed that this wire isn't always as long as you would like it to be. So to get around that, kind of take this and kind of tweak in like that. And because if you try to go like this, it's not long enough, right? So just kind of turn it, and then you'll be able to line it up. Don't cross thread these. If it's not easy to get it in, like how it's easy right now, what you're seeing, then you're cross threading it. Now we'll take our 10mm again, and we're going to turn it nice and tight. And you can see the line. That's why it's nice to have that line. I can just turn it right back to the line being lined up. And I know it's on there right. And now we can close this. It just snaps down. Go to the other side. Well, 8mm goes there. This one's obviously easier to put in because you don't have to line up any cables. Tack that down as well. Get the little line lined up. Not quite. There it is. And now we can close this. This will just snap. Snap. And we'll put our cable back on. Cable goes there. Put our terminal back on. Terminal goes through like that. And our 12mm nut. And get this tacked down nice and tight. You do want to make sure you do this one pretty tight because you want this sucker to be pretty tight. Don't break anything, but you want it to be pretty tight. Okay. Now we can put the little cover back on, and the cover goes with this side facing that way, but it goes around this little latch there. Goes around there first, kind of like that, and then it just snaps on, and it's on. And now we can reconnect the battery. When you're reconnecting the battery, when both sides are disconnected, you want to connect the positive side, the red side first. So just get it up over here and drop it in place. Push it down real good. Push it down real good, and make sure that it's going to seat real well. And that is a 10mm. You want to tighten this up nice and tight. Again, remember where your tools are so you don't accidentally make a short between the two terminals on the battery, because you can get a very bad burn if you do that. Now that that's on there, I'm just going to come back with my 12mm and just double check the tightness. It's tight, so that'll work. I might tighten this up just a little bit more. Alright, now we'll come over to our negative side. Take that off and go to your negative and put it right on. And push it down real good. Make sure it's pushed down real good. tighten this up nice and tight. And if you have a cap, which you probably don't because the Rav4s didn't come with one, put your cap on. And you put this cap on all the way, and you are all set. That's how you install your 100 amp fuse. I hope this helped. Good luck with your repair. Thanks for 250 subscribers.